The three-day Discover Namibia Intra Africa MSME and Township Economy Expo and Conference is underway at Swakopmund. To find out how the event, initiated by the Africa Economic Leadership Council, is empowering the business at grassroots level, NBC Coastal Reporter Renate Rengura is on standby. Good afternoon, Renate.
Thank you so much for crossing over to us. We are currently at the Jemina Shitaleni Multi-Purpose Center here, the Mondesa Township of Swakopmund. It is here where all of the excitement will be coming from for the next 3 days or so. It is so unusual for an event of this magnitude to actually be held in the township, but here we are today. Basically, the main reason why this event is being held is just to bring together key stakeholders, key players in the intra-Africa that have to play a role in promoting intra-Africa trade within the MSME sector, that is the micro, medium, and small enterprises sector. Now, earlier on, we had the official ceremony where speeches were made, and the co-founder of this initiative also mentioned that one of the reasons why they chose Mondesa Township to hold this big event is basically to spread one message, and that message is that every player in the MSME sector, can actually become a champion of the African economy. Now, to talk to me about this event, I am joined by the co-founder, Mr. Percy Morapedi Koji. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the listeners and to those who are watching NBC in Namibia.
Just tell us how this event actually supports or empowers the players in the MSME economy.
I mean, if you remember, Africa Economic Leadership Council was born out of the vision of focusing on what we call grassroots businesses. So our aim and objective is to make sure that each and every business, whether it's in the township, as you've mentioned earlier, that it's quite unusual to have this kind of events. And this is the message we're trying to send, to say that each and every business that is whether in the township or in the village must have equal opportunities, and they need to have access to markets, they need to be able to participate in the economy, and also be able to benefit from what you are trying to do, because as you've rightfully mentioned, a lot of these events happen in big cities where there's access to almost everything. So the townships and the villages, I come from a village called Taung in the northwest in South Africa, and today I'm in Mondesa Township. The whole idea is to drive our vision throughout the continent of Africa, which is hence the name Africa Economic Leadership Council. So we're trying to not only create a platform and a networking opportunity, but also to create access to markets, offer those young people opportunities to be able to trade and grow from where they are to become bigger businesses in future.
You have mentioned it, other speakers have mentioned it. Access to markets is one of the main challenges that's hampering the players in the MSME sector. Can you just talk to us about the other challenges as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of the challenges is that, as you would also notice, most of the SMMEs do not have the same opportunities, especially in the townships and in the villages. And these are people whose businesses might not be necessarily what we call in the formal economy. So one of the challenges is accessing financial support and also accessing markets. So our approach is an inclusive approach. The one that says businesses that trade in Mondesa must be able to have access anywhere else in the continent of Africa, but more so to help them get to where they want to be, not just to talk about it, as our entrepreneurs have mentioned earlier, is they want to see much more practical, realistic approach into bringing solutions, and that's what Africa Economic Leadership Council is about.
Now, intra-Africa trade is estimated to be at 15%. What are some of those practical ways we can adopt, or the MSME players that are currently here, what are some of those practical ways that they can adopt to be connected to the rest of Africa so that we can trade with each other, we can boost up those figures?
I mean, One of the agendas that we've adopted as part of Africa Economic Leadership Council is the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. We also have what we call Africa Free Continental Area Trade, which is one of the biggest sort of initiative that our continent has taken. We want to see one Africa where there's one currency and one passport, meaning anyone who has a small business in Mondesa Township or in South Africa or in Namibia, in Botswana, whichever part of the continent of Africa, must be able to trade and sell their products and services across the continent seamlessly. And this is why we've also involved authorities today, such as the ministry, especially from the immigration, we've got the secretariat, so that they can help us understand and ease these processes, so that if we do bring other businesses from the SADC region, the neighboring countries, they are able to trade with Namibia seamlessly and vice versa. The aim is to take some of the SMMEs, expose them to what we call new markets so they can develop, have access to grow, but also to be able to trade in a much more simpler way. And that's why we're lobbying the government to support this initiative and to make sure that everybody who is actually in the MSME sector can participate.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Percy, for joining us, for this opportunity, for talking to us. We will be hearing you do your presentations later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, we will be bringing you more from the Expo, the Intra-Africa Trade Expo and Summit here in the Mondesa Township of Swakopmund. That's it from me, Renate Rengura.
Well, there you have it. That was Renate Rengura and cameraman Martin Stephanos report.